Up next on Inside ChampCar, Sebring Under the Stars. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski, the guy above me, my fearless leader in this episode, production, disaster.
Wait.
Yes,
Do we have sound?
we should have sound.
Yeah, I'm just questioning that.
Oh,
I thought we'd ask it before we actually get into the heat of the program.
giving me a heart attack.
That's all right, man.
Giving me a heart attack.
You were
Joining
out at Road America this past weekend, right?
Yeah,
Didn't have much more of a heart attack than that. That was a pretty fun weekend.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I mean, I watched the races. There's some good racing.
Yeah, there was some good racing when we were green.
Well, it's racing. I mean,
it is racing.
ChampCar's head of Code 35 Brigade, so you know.
Yeah. That would have helped us a lot this weekend, honestly.
Hey, guess who we have in the studio?
I know. I don't have to guess. And his name's on the
South
screen.
Florida studio, yeah. The South Florida studio.
The South, yeah. I like that.
South Florida studio, yeah. Ed Steinhoff. Everybody knows him as ChampCar Ed.
ChampCar Ed. I'm going to get to that question in a second, Ed. But we're going to ask you the other question first. And that is, how did you get mixed up with this crazy sport that we love?
This crazy sport. I've always been in the cars. Dad was in the cars. Always going to the Saturday night circle track, South Florida Fairgrounds Speedway. And just kind of worked up to this interest, or, hey, I'd like to go and try that. And I found a dirt track. Went and did that for better part of a decade. And then they closed up. And we got lonely. So we started doing some crazy races, enduros, full contact kind of racing in front of 5,000 individuals.
Ooh,
like
where was that
like demolition derby stuff?
Demolition derby stuff.
Yep.
I took a championship in that.
How does one win a championship in demolition derby? Just survive to the end?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, last man standing the most frequently.
Yeah.
Got it.
You just have to keep moving, right?
You have to be the last aggressor.
Oh, okay.
Be the last aggressor.
You can't be running away from everybody. You have to be.
No, you'll get black flagged.
Okay.
If you're just turning tail or hiding in a corner or something and pretending to be dead.
Right.
So there is some strategy about it. Mostly, don't be aggressive if you're not in a great car. Just kind of watch your butt and get the minimum hits in until the end, and hopefully you're one of those guys.
There you go.
And,
Do you get ready to fight at the end?
no, sorry, no. Sorry.
I go to these dirt track events on the weekend, and everybody's shaking hands, hugging each other, patting each other on the back, and I'm waiting for like mud clods to start flying, and
occasionally there's some tension, but you got to be there every week to find that tension.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Know who's angry or who's thinking about stomping over, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're doing the dirt stuff, the crash up derby stuff, and even you've done you and your brother did chained cars together racing.
Chain racing. They have something called Knights of Destruction. It was formerly called Crash a Rama. Basically, 5,000 people sit in the stands, and you've got an oval track to defile. Basically, you're driving that car. It doesn't matter if it's got 3 wheels. You're trying not to be the guy on 3 wheels, but you don't have to stop either. There's no such thing as a black flag. It's either going or it's stopped. So, all kinds of things can happen. You can drag a car. You can drag a boat. You can chain 3 cars together. You could play hockey. Like you try to push your puck. You have a team car that's white. And you push him with 2 other cars. You can either play all defense or offense and defense, or just be jerks and try to push other cars out all the time. I prefer the survival, the long game.
See, I'd like to do something like that at Talladega. I think that'd be kind of fun. 14 hours of destruction.
Oh Lord, no.
No.
It's hard on the cars. The cars are often one and done.
Yeah.
So
and you just go grab another one out of the junkyard and put the motor in it?
Not even. No, of course not. You start with something that runs. Put tires on it. You get the glass out of it. chain the door shut.
See, that'd be so much fun.
Reinforce the bumper.
So you started that, and then I think it wasn't ChampCar. You started in Lemons, right?
Really, I heard of Lemons and would love to have participated in Lemons, but there was no Lemons within our travel range.
Oh, right. Because it was
so. I just had that on my periphery. We'd all discussed it. It's like, man, if that was nearby, we could do that. That's not a problem. And one day I got a call from a friend, and he told me about the, I believe it was the Portland race or the 09.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, Florida's on the schedule for later in the year, next year. That was 2009. After a couple false starts, ChampCar got going and got its first race in South Florida, at least. At Homestead. Homestead.
Yeah.
It was Homestead.
The second one was the Sebring Club course, because I went down to that one.
That was the second race.
Yeah.
The second Florida race. I can't say it was probably the 15th or 20th ChampCar race by then. Just kind of started out from there, but it's kind of Lemons based, what you guys were trying to do in ChampCar days to attract people.
Right.
And I know Brian wants to get to the shark car thing.
No, we'll get to it. We got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Q.
So what all right. So we go to ChampCar Homestead. You win that race, don't you?
Lord, no, come on. This is the first time we did this. We learned a lot. We finished half pack. It wasn't a great big pack.
That's a win.
In front of TAJ Taj, Ford Escort, Kia swapped with a bad alternator. I'm sitting there watching him go by, and it's like his lights are going to go out next lap around. We're gonna get a position here.
Just kept going.
Just kept going. We were pretty terrible. We had a great time. We learned a lot. We came back to second race, which was Sebring Club.
What kind of car were you racing then?
Pieces of the car that we have now. Infiniti J30. So it was just something I had used laying around. I was trying to flip it. Nobody wanted it. Had a couple of cosmetic blemishes. Ran great. And green antifreeze, clean oil, and turn that phone off. It ran great, and we're a bunch of Chevy and Ford guys, and I'm like, hey, how about this Infiniti? Why? I don't know. It's got a posi. It's got independent suspension all the way around. It's got disc brakes. It's got a couple hundred Japanese horsepowers. It should be relatively reliable. Unlike small block, we're going to build it every third race. Small block Chevy or Ford. And I talked them into it with the promise that if they didn't like it, they were just going to saw the creation in half and throw it away after the first event. Well, that was 2009. We built the car, and we still have pieces of it functioning.
Wow. Nice.
Yep. Now you progress on. You go to. How'd you do it out of the club course? Because your second
club course burned up a lot of brakes. Learned a lot about brakes.
Yeah, that was a fun race. Jerry Anger almost got into a fight on a pit lane at the end. It was the fight, or the fight for the lead or for the win was between him and somebody else, and there was some bumping and scratching, and then there was some bumping and scratching in pit lane, and yeah, it was pretty fun. We had a blast.
I believe we were actually doing pretty well with until the last hour or so. We were doing really well. We were right up there in a podium position, a tall podium position behind that, and we just didn't know much about brake pads and brake cooling and compounds, and we ran out of brakes for on the last pit stop, and yeah, it'll take a while for that to grind away. Just go.
Just go, because awesome. that did use up some brakes on club.
Club was very hard on the brakes, and we ran off in hotel with the caliper piston popped out probably 15 or 20 minutes later, and fortunately got caught in a sand trap, because that's not exactly where we were aiming, but that's the way we stopped. Like sand trap way out by the wall.
Oh wow!
Like if you went straight, no brakes right there.
Yeah.
And the tow truck driver wouldn't come from the flag stand on the other side of the track for 20 minutes, getting his truck to tow us out. So we got the driver standing next to the car, antagonizing the tow truck driver to come over and get him. And he's like, no.
Oh, geez.
We got the car in after waiting 20 minutes, and threw some calipers at it and took the wrinkled hood and threw it away. And what was left of the headlights, aimed them forwards, and we went out and got a sixth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we were way back in the pack. Some Nissan Z spun in front of us, and I had nowhere to go, and he just rolled right into my path where I kind of chose to go. He just rolled right into it and hit him square on. It gave us like -6 degrees of camber on the right front wheel, and then we got that fixed for the next race because there was 2 races. There was a long race and a short race.
There was a Saturday race, and then we had just a cleanup race Sunday because we still had the track.
Yeah, and then I got into a little tussle with what was his name? He was the Florida native that won the Rolex 24 in his class, and then took his Rolex to get it put on or to resized.
It was fake.
And he was told it was fake. And he goes, it can't be fake. The president of Rolex gave it to you. But yeah, him and I got into a tussle over, I forget where that was. But yeah, I'm like, he goes, I didn't see you. He shoved me off the track. I was so angry. I was ready to fight. And I walk over, and he's just sitting on the picnic table near our pit stall and just smiling away. And I just can't hit a guy smiling. So he said, you couldn't see me because your mirror is sitting in my in my passenger seat floor, the passenger floor. So yeah, that was pretty funny.
I honestly thought you your crankshaft had an argument with your connecting rod on that race.
No, wait, did that one? No, that was our first gen MR2 that we had us.
Yeah, that was a first gen MR2.
Yeah, we had with us. No, the engine was fine.
11 minutes MR2, and I said it.
I know.
Oh, you did. You did.
Yep. I was just looking at the time.
Yeah, we had a fun time. It was a good weekend. Our Canadian friends came down. That was the first weekend. Troy brought the V6 MR2, and lap 1.2 or something like that, his crankshaft decided not to stay in the car.
Oops.
So yeah, baffled oil pan and all. And I kept telling him over and over again, you cannot baffle the oil if there's no oil in the car. So yeah, it was all sitting up in the heads. All right, Ed. So when did you guys start the shark thing? What was the idea behind that?
Beginning days of ChampCar was looking to attract the local Lemons crowd. So you offered additional laps plus laps for theme. So we literally started the race like a Lemons car. We had the thing dressed up. It was gray. It was round. Okay, it must be a shark. We're really not that imaginative. So it got a shark fin. It got a great big wing on the back. It kind of had a bullnose on it for a while. A welded up air filter assembly that was really big in the middle. And might have had a little more paint on it. Just a outline of the classic shark teeth in black. Just a little abstract version of that. And we started for 3 laps plus at the green flag drop for 2 races because of this.
Oh, awesome.
It was pretty good. Now that wing had a little bit of a story. I just was standing next to it at an auction on the ground, and I wound up with it for like $10 or something. It was an aluminum. It looked nice. It looked like it was doing something. I had one of my drivers walk up, engineering type. He's like, that thing's upside down. I'm like, right side up it and make it push down instead of fly. And it started getting cracks after that, and wasn't ever made for that. So it wasn't made to work. It was made to look like it worked.
Right.
So when it actually started to work, it disappeared at Charlotte Motor Speedway like the next year.
Well, yeah. So we all go to Charlotte, and we had fun. But you were driving that car. I think you were leading, weren't you? Or you were up front,
leading all day.
Yeah. And, we go into the well, that was back when Condon put up the chicane, right?
Yeah, that had the chicane that kept getting blasted through. It was 2 attempted chicanes. It's kind of a blur, but the first one, I know the start finish line chicane got blasted once by someone real good.
That was the Batman car.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
And then we got the back chicane too. But to get that chicane right, you'd pretty much have to take your driver's mirror off on the concrete infield wall. It was like Jersey barriers down low in the grass. And it was just kind of one of them things, like looking back with the experience we had and what we were doing, it's like, oh crap, they let us do this.
Yeah. The crazy part was I'm in the car, and there was 2 or 3 cars with wings, and it was the first time we had our wing. It was our $15 APR our APR wing that actually worked, and every time we went by it, that I could see it move a little bit. And the car in front of me that had a wing, it was like I forget what it was, like a Porsche or a Honda or something. Every time he would go by it, it would just move the barrier just like maybe half an inch. But it would move it enough. And I'm like, hey guys, on the radio, go over to whatever team these are and tell them, get as close to that Jersey Bear as we can. We can move it out of the way. Now we start moving it. Now it's a straight line. And I remember talking to Chiswick about it later, and he was like really pissed off with us because he's like, we had to go out there, yellow flag the whole race, go out, reset all those, and we would just go out, do it again. Finally, Chiswick just said, just leave them out there. And it was just a straight through. And it was so much fun after that.
It was so much better without it.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, your car, you don't remember much of how you finished the race.
I do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a great day. Like literally the stars were in kind of alignment. It was my fortune cookie from the night before had great numbers on it, had great slogan. Everything was going beautiful. I mean, we went out there and we were dominating. By the time it was hour 12 of 14, we were 2 laps up on the entire field leading with Jackie Hicks in the second place, 2 laps behind us. And we're doing our thing. And I'm in the car next to last. All I've got to do is bring the thing into the pits and hand the next guy the keys, and we win the race, quite literally. It been our first win. I got taken out by somebody blinded by the setting sun. And rather than go into that, I went into the wall, wound up with a destroyed burning car, and a trip to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So I gained a lot of experience there real quick too, but not exactly what I was looking for that day.
Right.
Yeah. We came off of turn 3, where we were up in the banking, and I just remember the yellow light coming on, and then all of a sudden red flags everywhere. And, it's like, oh, I think that was my first red flag, ChampCar, and came down off of 4 and just parked there. And then you could see the fire. You'd see the smoke from it. And it did not look pretty. And, of course, we're just hearing things over the radio. And we had really rudimentary radios back then. So it was basically, stuff like that all day. But yeah, it was really sad because we really you were fun to race with when we could stick with you.
We learned a bit about drafting.
Those corners, when you got up on the banking, it was like, holy shit, they're gone, man. That big V8 against our little 4 cylinders.
Oh no, that was a 6.
Oh, that was a 6. Okay, still
that was a 6.
Our 4 cylinders.
That was a 6.
Yeah, just like that.
Fun times. All right,
so
did you come back to race after that?
I did. I mean, that fire, just for anybody that's curious how that happened, that was in the engine. That wasn't in the inside of the car.
Okay.
I wasn't burned.
Oh, good.
I was more, just massive G load went through my body. It sprained me and it banged my brain around a little bit.
Sure.
What did you learn from that? Did you learn anything on car?
The concussions suck.
Yeah, no shit. I've done that too.
Yeah, you did that one. What did we learn? We learned a lot about seat design, ergonomics of the car, why you shouldn't be cheap and just go and buy that Hans thing right away. We were still using foam collars. They were allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a foam collar on. That was my cool down lap. I wasn't even in it. I just got punted.
Right.
Literally, I was cool. And I mean, they're radioing to me after impact. I got Tweety birds going around my head, and they're like, pit, caution. And I'm like, dude, I'm the caution.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say anything. The wind was knocked out of me so bad.
Right.
I couldn't say a thing. And it was like, oh, this hurts, and the car's on fire. All right, forget answering this guy. I'm about to pass out. I can't take a breath. It just knocked the wind out of me so bad.
Yeah.
And I needed to be loaded and taken away, but I was fine.
Yeah.
A couple weeks off of work and just healed up. Nothing broken. Not a darn thing broke.
Good.
Wow.
So what did we learn? Seat design, seat belt placement, things you don't expect in your interior can come and get you.
Yes.
My right leg had a dot on it where I'd gotten abraded by something, and I had to wait 2 weeks to get out of bed and go back to the wreckage and just figure out what got my leg. I was like, oh, it's a shifter box. Okay, I want a longer seat now past my thighs. I want the seat longer. We just literally added to it. It was a thick aluminum seat.
Right.
So we made the seat longer so your legs were protected or held in place more of a homebrew containment seat.
Right. When you say shifter box, what's that?
That would be for our automatic shifter. The little
Like the center
handle on the
console.
floor, the D21.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you don't shift that. You know, you
No,
just E and go.
no, just put it in drive, overdrive, and everything's done with the other two pedals.
Okay. Is that because you just don't know how to drive a stick, or
I have no clue.
Why'd you pick an automatic? Because it seems like everybody in the world has found some Infiniti out there with a stick shift.
Why did we pick an automatic? The car ran and drove so good when we got it. We just caged it.
Yeah.
We literally caged it and just started development there. Our very first race at Homestead. Okay, those $65 parts store ceramic brake pads and tires off the used tire rack from the local tire store aren't going to cut this.
Yeah.
The brake pads lasted 2 hours. We had some cheap metallic spares, which lasted the rest of the day at Homestead. The tires, they were pretty awful. 2 of them got thrown in the dumpster that day, I believe. It was like, just take these off and throw them away. Rotate the front to the back. Go get the other ones out of the truck. It's like, I never want to see those tires again. That was the first stint, first race. We evolved from there. The car got lighter. We just break something every race and fix it and just make it all better.
So is that the same chassis as you had at Charlotte when you wrecked it?
No, that car was compressed width-wise a foot at the B pillar. The fire was actually the fuel lines, main wiring harness, and exhaust on the right side of that engine were severed by the strut tower hitting the engine.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's what started that fire.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, 43 PSI of fuel for 2 seconds after it shut down across the severed exhaust and main harness.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't take much to start the fire.
No, unfortunately, I didn't have anything go into the car. I mean, we had a cheap Lexan windshield, like plexiglass. I don't know if it was plexi or Lexan, but it wasn't the scratch-resistant stuff. And that held the fire out plenty long. I mean, that was more just wrinkled in the corner when I got the car back. So I mean, the interior wasn't burned up. I wasn't burned up.
And that's when we didn't require the in-car.
No, that was just a handheld fire extinguisher, and I was in no shape to actually use it. I was just more interested in, let's just bail on this thing. I didn't know what the flag state was. I had a good rung bell, and I just wanted to get out of this thing. It's on fire. Somebody's going to have to drive around me if I climb out.
Right.
And I got out of the car, but I needed help right there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And they were there pretty quick. At least it happened.
They were super quick.
Yeah. Not at a track where it takes them a minute or two to get to the track.
No, those guys were there. Those guys were there in 35 seconds. That's what it felt like.
I think it took us a while to slow down because we're just sitting there at top speed, which I think back then was maybe 115.
Yeah. I had another driver get out of his car and assist me.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
Somebody actually stopped before the track was fully cold because it just didn't look good. And I thanked him later. I found him, or he found me rather. I have no clue. I didn't see his face at that point.
I remember that because my buddy's like, I think David on the radio was saying something like that. There's a driver out of the car, another guy's helping him out, and so yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just used as a learning experience. Okay, as soon as you guys mandated Hans devices and onboard fire systems, it was like, oh, that's a freaking great idea. Where do we get one of those? And just started building our safety, up from there.
We kind of had all that from the beginning. When I think
you
it was
suggested it.
Well, it was the first Nelson Ledges race. We had done a race at Carolina Motorsports Park with Lemons, and I wore one of those things around my neck, and I couldn't breathe. My Adam's apple just being squished the whole time. I couldn't breathe. Yeah, it sucked. I did not like that. And I think it was a week before the Nelson Ledges 24, the first one that Lemons did. There was a huge wreck in England with one of the MR2. It's not Spec MR2 series over there. A car flipped over the fence, went into the paddock, and another car, 2 cars flipped, and it was really bad, and some injuries were done. I remember showing that to my buddy David, and he's like, I'm getting a Hans. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a Hans too. So we went out. they were expensive. I want to say $500 or $600 for a Hans at the time, which was just an insane
I think it was
amount of
even
money.
more than that.
It might have been 800 or so.
800.
Yeah, I think it was right around 800 to 1,000, depending on which one you wanted. Because I remember right after Dale Earnhardt Jr. died, my wife's like, how do we, what is the thing that we can do to make it least likely for that to happen to you?
Right.
And I said, well, here is what it is, and it is not very inexpensive. And she called and ordered the damn thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Best thing you could ever do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember there's a couple of wrecks I was in where that thing went snap. You could feel it work.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so we did that, and then we were the mod squad is what we were called, because I had a big message board, and the mods were supposed to go, the moderators were supposed to race with us, so we were going to call it the mod squad. Unfortunately, none of the moderators raced with us, but a couple of them had given us parts, some race parts. Like one was a fire bottle. We had two of them in the cars, and then I went out for the yellow car. I went out and bought the used ones from the NASCAR shop, the used parts in Mooresville, and yeah, we never looked back after that, because I don't think we ever just used a fire bottle. I couldn't see what you could do if you're knocked out.
Nothing.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Well, if you're knocked out, you're not pulling the fire pin. You're not pressing the fire button either.
You got a point there.
So, but your point is taken, that if you're hurt to the point where you can't reach down, if it's close enough where you just be able to get to it, it's absolutely better to have the fire bottle, but the fire system. But if you're knocked out, you're knocked out. But yeah.
So, but yeah, we and then you've done something that only a handful of people have done. A couple of handfuls of people.
Wear a shark hat on the Inside ChampCar podcast.
That would be the only one, and a ChampCar hat too.
Yeah, I see that.
I got mine in my room. Remember the one with the little lights on it? I got that. But you won at Daytona.
Took us a while to get figured out.
Yeah. You show up with an open trailer. The paddock is filled with these stackers and motorhomes, and the IMSA trailers and just the real big money stuff. And a guy from South Florida, you live off 441, right? Somewhere out there.
Yes, I do.
And one man shop, auto shop, shows up, little silver car, a couple of drivers. You go out and win at Daytona. That's just so unheard of.
Everything that led up to it was, we only learned so much of dirt track car control, but for the next 10 years from the time we started to the time, we know nothing at all at Homestead to the time we won Daytona, we learned everything here with Chump and ChampCar. Everything. It was just progressive. One day at a time, one race at a time. That fire nozzle that we have now on our fire system is aimed right at the spot that was a problem previously. The seat, it's still a continuation of that. We made it. Just keep improving it until Daytona. That's just one day where, you pull up and you use this guy's IMSA or even better, I think it was Riley Motorsports semi. We were using it for shade. That was next to us.
Yeah.
And we go out there and we just have a perfect day. And just everything we learned came together that day.
Yeah, that was a special day. I tell you, it was. You looked shell shocked. Actually,
I was like, how'd this happen?
Yeah.
We've come. You come down to the last stint, you could be doing well. It really doesn't. I mean, like Charlotte, you could be leading for 2 laps down to the last stint. Wire on your own air brakes, or somebody mashed you into the wall. You never know what's going to happen. So it never happens until it's already done. You get the trophy in your hand. Okay, I just won this.
Yeah.
So the how did it happen though is a great question. Was it literally just all of the things went absolutely 100% perfectly, or had you done something different for that race to help put that scenario together?
Oh, the segue. Thank you. Our first try at sticky tires.
Okay.
That was our literal first try at sticky tires. Was the day we won that race, Daytona.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing we did different. Everything else was just a culmination. Very reliable car, modestly decent strategy, not perfect. Couple of lucky things. I mean, we actually ran it out of gas on a red flag. We also had a flat, but it was 1 lap into our window. We were able to drive it in. It just went down. And a couple of stupid fast cars just, exploded or hit things.
Yeah.
and we were the guy. We're always right there. It's just got to watch out. We're going to be right there. Don't slip.
Right. So the next race after that one, did you go out for the same thing for dinner the night before? Did you wear the same fire resistant underoos? Was there some superstition that you dragged from or not? Was there some experience that you dragged from that win to the future races?
Just keep trying to do it right.
Yeah.
No superstition was generated that day. Just anybody can do this. Have a good day. Take everything you learned from everything you've done with a car from the day you got your first set of keys up until that day. It's got to be there. You got to just do everything right. And that's why this is so good when people want to make a car rather than buy a car.
Right.
You can just hone that thing down until it works right, or the way you want it to, at least.
Kind of what I did. I always wanted it to do it my own way.
Right.
Even half the time it was wrong, but you learn from it. And that was why we did this racing. I got to learn and, put into practice what I'd read in magazines and books for decades. And, that to me, that's the
well, and when you do it that way, you have little victories in every event. Yeah. It's like it's why I think a lot of racers like golf, because you hit that one shot every round and it makes you think, man, I can play this game. On the racetrack, every race weekend, there's a little victory. Maybe you had one really good lap, or maybe you took a 10th or a second off of your time from the time before, or maybe it's that one corner that you butchered every time, but oh my gosh, you got it right that time. And it makes you want to come back and do it again. So
it just keeps building on it, just like that. You got that one lap good. Now let's see if you can do 5 laps like that.
Right.
You got that one pit stop right. Let's see if we can make them all happen like that. The car ran all day. Let's see if we can make that happen more often.
Yep.
The brakes didn't burn up, or they did, but they made the day. What can we do to make them a little bit better? Even if they're stopping well, you look at them and they're old charcoal briquettes, and the rotors are starting to break, and you just got to make it better until it's smoother and more comfortable. And if it's more comfortable, you can put more effort into your apex instead of worrying about the car, and get your braking points instead of worrying about the brake pedal.
Yep.
And
did you find
building every race?
Did you find yourself like you come back full circle from the first things that started failing that you started replacing? We did.
Yes and no. Once we got the brake package worked out, then we were looking for low horsepower, and then it's a little driver development. Just try to get out there and do as many laps right. And then, okay, fine. Let's get a cool shirt. We probably could concentrate longer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's get a lap timer. Literally just worked up from nothing whatsoever.
Right. And what was the lap timer a big change for you guys to really understand how you were?
We didn't put it in when other people were using them. We waited a while for that. When it became to the point, it's like, I don't think I can do any better without more feedback. And I got a great big tablet and started messing with it. Mounted it somewhere the drivers can mostly see it. And I mean, I've tried it with other teams I've hung out with, and it wasn't a good idea until you hit to a certain stage of your inner development where you need that. And it's a distraction until you need it.
Right.
And then it's like, oh crap, I'm doing 41s, 42, 41. It's like, holy crap, I'm pretty consistent now, or you can work on that and see where you screwed that up. Oh my God, that set me back 3 seconds when I just came into there a little hot.
Right.
Yeah, we found we were just all over the place. I mean, it was,
oh yeah. What's an apex?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just on the track, but we thought we were badass racers until you look at the times and compare them to other people, and it's like, holy shit, I am really bad. And then that really we focused on being consistently bad.
Right.
And once we got that down, it just started improving. And it was great at long races because you got 2 hours hour 50, 2 hours in the car, depending on how much we cheated. But 2 hours in the car, and that's a huge amount of time to sit there and dial in, your driving ability. So.
Well, and the lap timer is great for not just consistency, but realizing how much you lose when you take a risk that you really didn't need to take.
Right.
And then, like you said, wow, I just came in a little hot and I'm 3 seconds slower. You know, when you realize that, okay, just coming in a little hot is that big of a difference, the next time you have the occasion to make that decision, you'll probably not come in as hot, you know. And I think you learn more from looking at your mistakes than you are from trying to chip away that tenth of a second or that you know, that kind of a thing.
I always like the predictive side of it because that just, to me, it just, okay, screwed up there. Now
That's cool. It's like, look, I could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference we got from Bill's team was we didn't think we knew a thing. We were right. We didn't know anything. So we were just happy just to keep getting better. And it's like, hey, look, we finished fifth, fourth, third, second, and you win one every once in a while. And it's like, okay, that's cool. And then when you keep it just in the top five and you watch, you know, talent that's literally on their day off, this is their day job, and you're beating them somehow or learning something from them, just follow them for a while. And it's like, whoa, I'm a lot faster when I get with that guy. I want to know who he is.
Yeah, when Randy Popes drove Troy's car at Sebring, I was in the Opal, and I was in the Opal.
I know, we're drinking. It's 36 minutes in.
Just we were sharing radio channels and being able to listen to him describe what his car, you know, what the MR2 was doing, and, you know, what Troy could do to improve it, or, you know, okay, I got a little too much jounce in the back, or, you know, there's not enough bite on the left side, but the right side, there's tons of bite. Maybe you kind of even it out. I mean, just listening to him say that stuff. Of course, he says, sorry, Bill, I know we're on the same channel. I'll shut up. I'm like, no, keep going. Keep going. You're making my car better. Because we kind of match. But yeah, it was kind of cool listening to that kind of stuff. And I had a guy that on my team that was really good. Mike Helm was really good at the feedback and would give us, okay, you need to do that. Maybe apply more caster, and that could help us here and there. You know, a little more camber in the back. And then he would just put down some blistering speeds, you know, times with our car. Then he started breaking stuff because he's going so fast. You know, then I had to uprate stuff. You know, fun stuff. Yeah.
So, and some people complain about, you know, the Rileys and the more pro level teams coming to ChampCar. From listening to you, you relish the opportunity to go after that high hanging fruit, right?
When you have a conversation with Mr. Riley about the back and forth you had and how much of a good time he had, and it was a match to your feelings, and you had a great time too. It's like, wow, I could talk about this all day. You know, it just, those guys are coming in and playing on our rule book. They've got the same constraints we do. Their cars break or they limited somehow unless they figure something out, and then you go and try and look to see what it is and impound and talk to them about it, because I mean, everybody talks. I mean about 95% of everybody's car is free to talk about. Everybody only holds about 5% closer to their chest. Everybody's bringing you over. It's not exactly like your dirt track, Bill. You want to see some agitation, just go and hang out under somebody's hood at the dirt track. And here, you can just go and talk to them, ask them what they did, and everybody's happy to share. And if you can get faster from that, even better.
Well, and Riley was pretty cool because we were pitted next to him at Road Atlanta one time, or paddock next to him, and we're just talking about the cars and stuff, and he says, you know, he won't tell you what to do, but he says, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Or we try that, you know, it was the little fins on the roof, you know, those little vortice generators. And he laughed at us, and you know, Troy had him these big shark fins on remember he had all those things on his roof? I don't know. Remember that? Yeah, like 6 or 7 of them.
Right.
Big, like 8-inch things. And Riley's just going, you know, they don't work. But you know what? Every time we take the cars to the wind tunnel, we put them on there because one day they're going to. So, yeah.
Well, and those guys don't really want to win by 12 laps. They want y'all to be competitive. Well, but no,
some of them do.
But they want to have a race. They want to have people that are pushing them to be better, even if it's just their fun team to do as their weekend getaway kind of thing.
Well, so. Riley's pretty funny because he'll tell you. He says, I like getting that lap the next day, or the 2 laps, 3 laps, whatever they get for winning the day before.
Right.
Because now I have to work. My team has to work to get back up front, and that he thrives on that stuff.
Right. Very cool. Let's
It's
talk about
something to learn.
yeah. Let's talk about Sebring. You're heading to Sebring, right?
Sebring. This will be our 23rd time there with Chump and ChampCar.
Wow.
And you rent Lemons 24 there too, right? With this car, you rented in a different car.
I built an IOE car with What the Florida Racing and BAR Racing. We did a collaboration. We did a month-long build and just went and dominated just the way you're supposed to. That's what they tell you to do in Lemons, right? Go dominate.
Yes,
We took their advice. It was a good time, but I mean, I'd much rather drive here in ChampCar and
but still, you have it's the laps. You've got a lot of
the laps, and we're allowed to be competitivist. Where Lemons is a different kind of competition.
Oh yeah.
Right. You got to be really careful.
That's the way I always looked at Lemons. Was it's about getting the seat time and just look. You don't have to go fast. You can just get out there and work on your racecraft and moving the car around on track through those 2,000 cars they put on.
Right.
All right. So you've done a lot of laps on full course, the Grand Prix course there at Sebring. What is your favorite corner?
Ooh, turn one.
Really?
Turn one.
One scares me.
17. I like 17 too. And then Bishop. I kind of like most of them, I think.
Yeah.
But turn one is for sure. When you nail turn one, I mean, you can't push as hard through 17 in my car as you can in turn one. Turn one is like the angels come and they sing when you get one right. And oh yeah. The little ray of sunshine's coming in. It's beautiful when you do one right.
Unicorns.
The Infiniti is still on its stock springs and it's soft, so it actually works really well. Like 17, I took 17 in a friend's Miata, and I'm like, what the hell happened to this track? I can't even let go of the steering wheel to pull a gear. And I'm like, wow, this track's really deteriorated over the last year. I go out there in my car and it's just like caddy. Move, and it's like, oh, it's just my car. Got it.
Troy's car with those custom-made coilovers and the whole bit, and I about shook my teeth out. I go back in my car, and it's like, oh, just the regular Bilsteins, and it's just
exactly.
And it's like, oh, this is so nice. And the car sticks; it doesn't bounce going through 17. You bounce basically going all the way to the wall. And nowadays, and I say nowadays because I've done test days there since they moved the wall out, but I haven't raced on it since they moved the wall out. And at 17. And when you go in there, the first time I went in there with that 700 horsepower Mustang, it was like, holy shit, there's a wall right here. And it looks like this big as you're going underneath the bridge. Yeah, I remember it being a lot bigger than that too. But just bouncing through there as you're going, it's just, trying to get traction. It just, to me, that was the bomb.
17 is fun.
Yeah,
17 is fun for sure.
Because you just saw that dirt, and the guy in front of you always hit the dirt, sent up a dust devil, and yeah, I just saw that wall there every time, and I had to lift. So
yeah,
yeah. All right, so we got a pretty big field coming out there this weekend. You have and the race director Jackie Sides wanted me to pass on that you have a hell of a following. Everybody wanted to be pitted next to Ed. What is that? You have like a killer toolbox or something, or you hand out ice cream to everybody? What
it's definitely the ice cream. There's 5 Champ cars in my neighborhood.
Oh,
there's 5 of us. What the Florida, Reeves, Team Sharky, with the other Infiniti, the Baby Shark. Me, Covey, we're all within a couple of miles of each other.
Wow. Okay.
That's one reason. Yeah. Another reason is we got some good friends that just want to hang out. I mean,
there you go.
I mean, it's about the fun. I mean, we're having fun at a racetrack properly here. We're pushing against each other on the track, or just trying to figure it out, on some level, and we all have a good time together.
Yeah, it's a 7-7, right, Richard?
6-6.
No, he's talking about Nelson Ledges.
I'm sorry, I don't have that up.
No, it's a chat here. They're talking.
Yeah, I was afraid to turn that on and blow the.
They're just chatting. So, all All right. So what was it? What was my question?
I don't know. What was your question, Bill?
All right. So let me think about this again.
Make a new one.
Yeah. Okay. Cut. I'm getting old, man. All right. So, oh yeah. Because you picked. Okay, much better. I'm back on track. All right. So you picked. You asked for garage 1 and pit stall 1, which meant that only one person could be beside you. So all you guys out there were really sorry. If you had picked number 2 or 3, we could have had, all the friends on either side. But was that a tactical decision why you picked pit stall 1?
We kind of like it all the way down there at the end. We've got great access to our pits and our vehicles and our tools. We don't have to drag everything in. It's right there at pit in. I mean, you can see the car coming through 17. Always pit out's always been taken. Like, we want pit in. It's,
Yeah. No, that's all right. It's cool.
Yeah.
From different tracks, it kind of moves around a little bit. Different tracks, we prefer pit in at Daytona as well. It's right there by the beginning of the gate near the garages. And again, you can see something coming in off of, I don't know, you call it NASCAR 4. What's the last turn in our road course coming in? Like from
At Daytona?
Yeah, Daytona. Just where you pit in, you can see.
Yeah, I think that's
turn
17? 18?
No, because it's not that many turns.
No, there isn't. Doesn't much matter. You can see the car coming down pit road.
You know how I know? Because at Autobahn, we accidentally put up one of our broadcasters that was set to Daytona, and that position we had the wrong program on it, which didn't exist at Daytona. So, yeah, the firmware didn't exist for that position. So, yeah, it was turn 7 or 8. So, yeah, didn't exist. All right, so we had an anomaly recently where a Miata won at Sebring. Can you beat those pesky Miatas?
They had a perfect day. I don't know if I could beat those guys if they had the same day they did.
It was absolutely perfect.
They had an absolute flawless day. It was beautiful for them. For the rest of us, we had to follow them. And we had, I believe we had a power steering line pop off.
Ooh.
That wasn't any fun crawling underneath molten power steering fluid,
right,
all underneath the car trying to get a line back together. I think we lost 26 minutes on track. We still won class that day. So consistency and just getting back out there and keeping it going seems to be the thing with D sometimes.
Right. All right. So who's your pick to win Sebring?
Ooh. I'd love to pick ourselves, but that's
tough. Even if you pick them, because Paulie and I sit here and we kind of, who do you think?
I hadn't put any thought into it. That's just something that happens when we don't do our job right.
I mean,
somebody else wins.
I mean, the guys that won the summer race last year, Blazed and Confused, they're going to be there again with their car.
Okay.
We got another winner, which is Floridians. They won it last year, right? The New Year's race.
Floridians won. Yeah. We also got Average Joe's.
Average Joe's is there.
Got Average Joe's. I'm really worried about Justin. He's got a really good thing going. Good car, good drivers.
Yeah. They're getting that car bigger or better and better each race.
They are.
Effing Ranger. I mean, that could win, man. It's if it stays together, right?
It'll stay together.
Yeah,
it'll stay together. Just we do frequent pit stops with that one.
Right. Another team that's pulling out all the stops is Flight Racing. They just haven't had much luck lately. They've done okay, but they're pulling out all the stops. Race. They're coming loaded for bear.
I'd like to see what they got.
And Level 1 Racing.
They're always somebody to worry about.
Yeah, and they even with that little Aero Miata they have, they've done quite well. They won at Palm Beach, and they won a couple of other places as well. Marathon Motorsports.
Marathons.
Marathon. Everything lined up right, they could do quite well. Momo Champ, they do quite well too. They could do it, and then of course Open Throttle is bringing a whole bunch of cars. One of those green things could win it. Fing Dog Racing, that Porsche Boxster, it's getting better and better and better. And then Section 8 Racing in their Mustang. That's one of your class cars, a D-Class V8.
They're fast, but I'm more worried about FinDog.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. The thing is, though, it's a newer car.
See,
it just hasn't taken the abuse of Sebring yet. And will it last?
Bill has to say everyone has a chance to win, but Ed doesn't.
I like Sharky 2. They're winning a lot of fun. They're going to put their best foot forward. They're ready. I think Rusty's getting some headlights mounted up tomorrow to make sure he's got enough light. Yeah. I got to make some measurements.
Rusty yells at me a lot. He just yells at me a lot. I'm afraid of him.
You should be.
He's a little guy, but he's feisty. He's like a little.
Oh yeah.
What's that little guy that spun on the Roadrunner cartoon hour?
Oh, Wile E. Coyote?
Oh, not the coyote. The come on, internet. Tasmanian Devil.
Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah, that's what he reminds me of.
All right.
Speedway Creations is there with their Pontiac Firebird.
They could win.
That's a good one. They have
another Justin.
Yeah, they usually have some pretty good drivers and sometimes some secret drivers in that car. So we'll see. Another Stranger Racing in a Ford Ranger with a D class.
Stranger
class. Yeah.
Stranger's there. Interesting.
Yeah. Is that one of those Ford V8s in that, or is that an LS?
Old school small block Chevy. Tuneport.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yep. So and then of course who is it? Let's see who else here. Infiniti always has a chance there. Triple R Motorsports. He has a lot of rental drivers. Not always. They're fast.
They're fast.
Yeah. And then WT Florida with their Volkswagen Golf. Isn't that the one with the Betty White?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So they always do pretty well. And Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
There we go.
Are they still a Mustang?
No, they're something else now. Oh yeah, they are Mustang 2006. So that's a V6 though, isn't it? They end up putting a V8 in it.
Is it a C or a D?
Doesn't say. So
man.
Yeah, most likely. Oh, let's see. Oh, A. Oh no, I was looking somewhere.
A class.
Sorry, that was somebody else that had the Mustang.
All right, so Bill asked who's going to win. I'm going to ask a different question.
Yeah.
Who's going to have the most fun at Sebring?
Ooh.
All 55 cars, I think. Wow.
We get to race Sebring overnight. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a challenge.
Well, that's true.
So you got I know a lot of old guys like, I can't race at night, can't see, I'm kind of one of them, but you figure it's going to be the young guns in the cars overnight. And when I say young guns, the guy's like under 50, right? I don't know. You going to be in the car?
I don't know if that's any of our team.
Oh God. Yeah, that's I think because the sun down now?
No. The sun's not going to be down at 6 p.m.
Okay.
No,
it'll start going down around what, 9, 10 o'clock?
8:30, it's going to be pretty dark.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, our first stint's going to go to the guy with the least acuity at night.
Right.
And it'll just work through our driving order until we figure it out, I guess.
Right. So, can you go 2 hours on fuel?
It's kind of confidential.
Okay. I'd sneak that in.
If we need to,
what kind of tires are you running?
Some used Continental ECFs.
Ooh, sticky tires. Oh wait, you said
if you say so.
So what if it rains? Because it's supposed to be 70% humidity, and the temps are supposed to be between I think I saw like 79 and 90 something.
90 something sounds about right.
But overnight though, now, do you still get those rain showers every day at like 7 o'clock at night?
It's not settled into a proper pattern yet. Only the last week or so has the afternoon rains, and they're still weird, and sometimes they're in the morning. It's to be seen. You can't do a weather forecast around here until that day.
Yeah.
or the next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we know there might be rain. We know there's going to be heat. So it's going to come down to who's got a good cool shirt set up or whatever they're using nowadays. Driver comfort stuff.
Lights.
Lights. It's not that dark at that track. We'll have some lighting up as well. Have lighting. But I never found it a real issue driving it right there like I did at VIR. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if you got a clear sky, you should have a nice big moon, too. So.
Oh, didn't think of that.
Will it be a full moon?
No, I think the full moon was last week.
Okay.
But
it's a Glubius Maximus moon or whatever they
stop talking about my butt. Oh, I'm sorry.
And the dew temperature is going to be what? Is it the higher the dew temperature, the more
you want the lower dew point?
It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy.
It's going to be Florida in July.
Have your cool shirts. Don't be fooled that it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Have your ice ready.
Hydrate more.
Hydrating now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Hydrate now.
In the air conditioning.
Yep.
Waxing moon might melt. There we go. Timmy's back. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I might go down on pit lane and during my breaks and talk to some folks. I know Paulie's going to be trying some experimental broadcasting. He's going to try and do some stuff on pit lane for the race. That'll be fun to watch.
Nice.
We got Paul doing the broadcast. You going to join in, Brian, at some point? Give him a hand because it's him and Tiffany.
Okay.
Yeah, just pop in and Ed, you can come on up to the tower if you guys overnight. You want to get some air conditioning? Come not all at once though. Paulie up to the third floor, and Paulie will be in the media room and sit down and talk to him, and he'd love to do that. And we do have some some camera folks up there that I'm giving them that room. We're actually going to be on the fourth floor for the first time. We've always used the third floor. We're going to be upstairs.
All right.
Cool. They have coffee machines up there.
So you're going to be on a third or fourth floor with Paulie.
Paulie will be on the third floor. I'm going to be on the fourth, with race control. So we're going to be. So remember, we talked about running radios where we would let you guys know something on a radio, and you sit on a scanner. That failed miserably. Oh. It did not work at all. So I found another way with a microphone hooked up to a computer that goes out to the marching ants. So you can just put marching ants on your phone and listen in, and I'll give updates throughout the night and throughout the race. Let me pick a car here. Let me pull this back over here. Team Infiniti. Okay, car number 19. Code 35 means 35, not 27. Stuff like that. So, but I'm going to do the bing bong like you do, Brian, for the SCCA stuff.
Then I'm not listening.
Is that a button you press?
It is.
Bong, bing, bong, bong.
Yep.
Yeah. I made up my own tune. Nobody likes it.
That apparently is like that is the announcement chime for like the an airport in Sweden.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody suggested I use some sort of chime or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, like Le Mans, because Le Mans would do that. They would do a chime.
You should hit the chime and go, "Hey Siri, tell me about car 19. Car 19 is dreadfully fast at this racetrack."
And Tech is wondering how come they can go 3 hours on fuel.
Oh, no. My Siri's talking back at me.
Oh yeah, pump outs galore.
Siri off.
Do it.
Yeah. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Something new. I think we did overnight races years and years ago, but I never partook in them. Other than the 24s, which were always fun. We're looking. So one thing we're going to be doing, and I have been doing the last two races, is after each race, usually Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how I travel, I'm going to send out a post-race survey. Basically, hey, what'd you think of us? Did Bill look as sexy in that shirt? Yeah, like Le Mans. Le Mans do it. They would do it. Wait, why am I echoing?
That's me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So I thought I did something.
Nope, that was me.
Just asking about how things, how we did things, and what we could do to make things better. And the members had some really good feedback. So we've already put some changes in place, except for the fact that I'm going to be going to races.
About that, I never got my Daytona survey filled out because I was kind of busy.
Well, that's the board one, and you can bring that. If you guys did do a survey for the the board, please bring that with you.
Well, I mean, like a piece of paper on pit road while you're trying to do a pit stop, or that stuff disappears.
I know.
Maybe before the race.
I'll pass this on to them. They were having a meeting, going over VPIs for me. But yeah, it's helped me out. It's helped Chelsea out and Mike, and we've done a few little changes here and there, just the way we tweaked some of our information and try to get more information out to the racers. We even did one for our staff, and that opened my eyes on a lot of things that we weren't doing that we used to do, and it kind of forgot. So we've put some things in place to give out more information, and we're going to get better at this. It's of course, takes a little bit of time to do some of this stuff, but it's going to work. The idea is to again, going back to the, you could run it at Sebring, you could run it Autobahn, you could run it Daytona, and you could run it Harris Hill, and you're going to get the same exact experience. Either it's going to be really crappy for you that day, racing. No, it's going to the same experience with ChampCar. So, and that's what we're me and Mike and Chelsea discussed today, and we're going to be moving forward with some of this stuff, and it's going to be great. And some changes coming up. Now, some folks have asked, "Where's Mike? Why isn't he addressing anything?" Mike's going to stay in the background a bit, and I'm going to be kind of up here doing the thing and letting you guys know what's going on. So we'll be more coming up soon. We're still working to get some of the base, business stuff done. To get Mike caught up on all that, and doing well. All right, I think that's it because it's 10:01. I'm staying up all night basically, so I get into that rhythm. So I'm ready to go Saturday.
Hey, Bill.
But got a lot of work. What?
The rhythm is going to get you.
You think? And we're going to South Florida. So
that's right. That's right.
I'm not going to sing.
I'll bring a car down there and call it the Miami Sound Machine. How's that?
My God, yes. It better be quiet. 96 dB.
Okay. I'll keep the bongos low. Ed, thank you. Anybody you want to thank? Sponsors, family, friends, before we let you go?
Just everybody that tolerates me. Thank you, everybody.
Did you see how we didn't segue into the tire segment that he wanted us to do?
Yeah, we successfully avoided that.
Avoided that. Yeah, it's okay.
We'll
have you back on. You only want tires that thick? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, bicycle tires. Don't get spares.
All right.
Are we done?
I think we are done. Thanks, Ed. And we'll see you in a couple of days. And come on up, talk to Paulie, hang out with him for a bit, get out of the heat. And, he'll love it up there.
All right. That's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast. You won't miss any episodes. It'd also be great if you share it on your social media channels. Comment on the ChampCar Facebook page. Only good ones, bad ones go to Bill's page. We have a new episode every week. He's Bill Strong. I'm Brian Bielanski. Have yourself a great weekend. Go have fun with cars and stay safe.
Thanks, Ed.